Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 3 of the 14th Leadership Skills Development Summit 2021. If you're only tuning in today, then I must be honest with you, you have missed out on quite a fruitful and amazing program. However, we haven't lost you or left you in the desert. You can get a hold of the past 2 days on our YouTube channel, or you can even contact Cape Media to check what has been happening for the past 2 days. As we conclude this day, we'll be talking about population increase. What are the skills that the youth need, particularly for the future in the agricultural sector, also in the mining sector and so forth. But I don't want to take up much of your time. But one thing that we can deduct from yesterday's session is that we need to learn not to share our doubts, but share our decisions. Furthermore, we need to learn not to share our problems, but really actively share our solutions. And this is what we gained from yesterday's amazing panel discussions that took us into the rest of the day. I won't waste any more time because we'll be load shedded in the afternoon. So we've got a tight program to make sure that we flow into the day and we get everything done. Please don't forget to hashtag Skills Summit at 2021. Visit all our social media platforms under Skills Development Summit 2021. And don't forget to check out our virtual exhibition so that you can interact and engage with some of our sponsors and the companies that are there. Without further ado and wasting any further time, I wish to welcome our keynote address that will kickstart today's program. She goes by the name of Mrs. Sharon van den Heever, who's the National Chairman at Association for Skills Development in South Africa. And she will be providing us a keynote address so that we can enter right into our panel discussion shortly after this. Over to you, Sharon, and welcome.
Welcome to the ASDSA's presentation for this year's Skills Development Summit of 2021. And basically, let's just take you through what the ASDSA is all about and where we land from a skills development perspective. So just introducing ourselves. So I feel that this caption is very important. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. And the willingness to learn is a choice. So I think that is very apt in the skills development landscape. So let's talk a little bit about the relevant legislation and role players. The relevant legislation and role players are the Skills Development Act, Skills Development Levies Act, the SAQA Act, Companies Act, Employment Equities Act, and the National Qualifications Act. And the various role players, as you can see on the right-hand side, is SAQA, the CETAs, the QCTO, the Department of Labor, and SARS, just to name a few. The National Qualifications Framework is underpinned by an act, and there are 10 level descriptors or 10 levels on this National Qualifications Framework. And we deal with those 10 level descriptors when we are speaking about skills development. The objective of this National Qualifications Framework is that we've got an integrated national framework, that it is accessible, mobile, and progressive, that it ensures quality, and also addresses the redress of the past. So let's have a look at what this framework looks like. So very basically, if you have a look on the bottom left-hand corner, it's the General and Further Education and Training Qualifications Sub-Framework, which is that navy blue section. It deals with the first 4 level descriptors, and it basically speaks directly back to your schooling education, ending with your national certificate. Then above that is your post-school education and training, which is your higher education, and that speaks directly back to your higher education qualifications sub-framework, and that's the orange section, which is the level descriptors from 5 until 10. And then on the right-hand side is your occupational qualifications sub-framework, and that is your occupational certificates for your trades and occupations. So this just gives you a nice picture of what the National Qualifications Framework looks like. There has been a review of this National Qualifications Framework. They have changed some of the level descriptors on the occupational qualification sub-framework side. So SAQA, the South African Qualifications Authority, This is an official body that was appointed by the Ministers of Education and Labour, and they basically oversee the national qualifications framework in South Africa and ensure that there's further development and implementation of this national qualifications framework. They coordinate those three sub-frameworks: the general education and training, the further education and training, and the higher education and training. And they also ensure that they advance all of these objectives of the national qualifications framework. So let's have a look at the three sub-frameworks. So the general and further education and training qualifications sub-framework is managed or overseen by Umalusi, which is your schooling sector. Then your higher education is overseen by the Council for Higher Education, and the occupational qualifications sub-framework is overseen by the Quality Council for Trades and Occupations, or the QCTO. So let's have a look as well. Under those sub-frameworks, you get private colleges, you get public colleges, you get universities, private and public, and you also get private training providers. So various different types of training providers and education institutions. Then under all of those sub-frameworks, in amongst all of those sub-frameworks are the sectoral education and training authorities, what we call SETAs. So those SETAs are there to have a look at the sector skills plans. They look at the trends in each of the sectors, and those sectors are the actual manufacturing and industry sectors that we are referring back to, and we'll go through the various different SETAs that we report into. We look at the skills that are in high demand, we look at the critical skills, we look at where the skills development are, and the SETAs also accredit training providers and provide quality assurance for those training providers. So let's have a look at the various SETAs. There are 21 SETAs currently in South Africa. And as you can see, those SETAs speak back to various different sectors within industry. So it is the agricultural, banking, construction, chemical industries, and each of those SETAs will speak directly back to the various sectors. And the training that takes place in each of those sectors, the SETAs oversee those training providers within those various sectors. These are the balance of the SETAs. So as you can see, there are the 21 different SETAs, and they do cover the entire spectrum of SETAs in industry. This just gives you an idea of all the different logos of the SETAs that we deal with when we are submitting our annual workplace skills plans and annual training reports. So let's talk about one other aspect of skills development and the Quality Council for Trades and Occupations. So what is the Quality Council for Trades and Occupations? It is a council that was established in 2010 in terms of the Skills Development Act, and its role is to oversee, design, implement, assess, and certify the educational qualifications that fall within that sub-framework. So those trade qualifications, things like welders, boilermakers, and various other trades that fall within the trades categories from 1 to 8. That is what the QCTO ensures that they are designing, developing, and implementing. They also don't quality assure the actual training providers, but they do accredit the training providers as well. So the QCTO's partners that are involved here are the SETAs, the professional bodies, and quality assurance partners. People like SAICA and HPCSA, SABPP, the accredited training providers, SAQA, and then, of course, the ASDSA with their SDFs. The Quality Council for Trades and Occupations oversee those new occupational qualifications. And just to break it down into a little bit further explanation, SAQA, which is the South African Qualifications Authority, hold the legacy qualifications, which are the qualifications that are currently being trained. Those qualifications are being converted. Some of them are being converted into occupational qualifications. And as those conversions happen, they are moving from legacy qualifications over into occupational qualifications. And that is where they are moving from. They're still registered on SAQA, but the QCTO is developing those new occupational qualifications, and the dynamic of those qualifications are changing from a predominantly theoretically based qualification under the legacy qualifications at SAQA to a more practically based qualification under the QCTO's occupational qualifications. So let's talk a little bit about who we are from an ASDSA perspective. So the ASDSA was established in 2001. We're a registered SAQA professional body, and we have 3 professional designations for our skills development practitioners, namely the skills development technician, practitioner, and master. So we are recognized and respected in the profession, the skills development profession. We also upskill various different skills development facilitators that are not professionally designated. We run various different skills programs, and we also ensure that we are looking at best practices in the industry. We look at continued professional development. We're looking at models of recognition of prior learning, and we run many workshops in the industry to upskill and ensure that we are developing our professionals in the industry. So our starting point. Initially, our starting point was to look at the transformation in South Africa, recognize the transformation and skills development that are critical in South Africa. And these were the driving forces in providing that starting point for us. And they also guide our efforts and energies to ensure that we are achieving the goals that we need to achieve from an ASDSA perspective. So the practitioners that we represent, they are a diverse group of people. So the skills development practitioner is not just a skills development practitioner that submits a workplace skills plan or an annual training report. They influence a much wider group. So they can be learning and development managers, HR managers, facilitators, assessors, moderators, organizational role players, business owners, decision makers, business entities. So there are a number of different role players that are integral in the skills development landscape and that deal with the skills development practitioners. So what is a SDP or an SDF? So a skills development professional or a skills development facilitator is somebody that coordinates the interventions, the training interventions, the learning development programs, and reports back on these for companies and organizations through the SETA's annual workplace skills plans and annual training reports that they submit. They apply for mandatory grants that the employers pay through their skills development levies on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, and they can also apply for discretionary grants. So some of the other programs that can be applied for that skills development facilitators and practitioners are sometimes involved with are learnerships, short skills programs, bursary programs, apprenticeship programs, and these programs are aligned for employed learners, unemployed learners, and the upskilling of the workforce in general. A lot of these programs are funded through employers, but a lot of them are also funded through the SETAs and through the various different programs that are applied for, like the learnership programs and short skills programs that skills development levies pay for. So what do we focus on? We focus on influencing the systemic improvement and the skills development landscape as a whole, enhancing professional expertise and upskilling of people within the industry, and developing an understanding of these long-term trends. How can we improve ourselves on a constant basis? Our core values are that we believe that everyone has the right to quality education, training and development, and this is definitely the answer to South Africa's economic freedom. We believe that there are endless opportunities and a right and a wrong way to do this. We believe in ethical behavior and quality skills development and quality training. We think that quality training is very important, ensuring that you are training from an accredited training provider perspective, that we are ensuring that the programs that are delivered are quality programs as well, and that the learner at the end of the day is the person that we are taking care of. We need to set the industry standards. We believe in everything that we do, and we always try to challenge the status quo. We are the voice of the SDF. So just going into our designations that we have, to mention those 3 designations that are registered on the SAQA, it's 493 for the technician, 494 for the practitioner, and 770 for the master. Please feel free to go and navigate the SAQA website to go and have a look at those professional designations. And should you be interested in getting a professional designation, you would be signing up with ASDSA as a member, and there are some assessment criteria that you would need to meet, and underlying qualifications and various experience in the industry that you would need to meet for each of those designation titles or professional designations that you would like to get. And again, just looking at how we can influence systemic improvement, making sure that we also provide guidance from a skills development practitioner perspective. We like to achieve excellence. We are always looking at how we can influence systemic improvement, engaging with regulatory and legislative frameworks. And we also look at the post-school education and training system. We're continually enhancing professional expertise. So the way that we do that is by initial professional development, and that is registering as a skills development practitioner with a professional designation. But enhancing this is also what we call continued professional development. And I know in the industry, a lot of people are referring to CPD points. So professional bodies refer to CPD points on a regular basis. And this CPD points is all about your own professional development, continually staying current, relevant, and continually developing yourself to ensure that you are achieving excellence and that you are growing your career path. And that's how we always ensure that we are moving towards our goals within our career paths. So developing an understanding of long-term trends. How we do this is that we ensure that we are researching various trends from a national and international perspective. We have technical committees and certification committees that do engaging in the field and provide us with guidance and advice. We also collaborate with other professional bodies on best practices in the industry, on recognition of prior learning, and on CPD and how they deliver their CPD programs to ensure that we are enhancing the CPD programs that we deliver from an ASDSA perspective. We often involve ourselves on position papers and respond to legislation and calls for comment, where the DHET or the Department of Labour are asking us for calls for comment on various issues in the industry. So why do I need an ASDSA professional designation? I think the most important thing to understand is that a professional designation demonstrates competence. It demonstrates that you are serious about your profession, that it gives credibility to your profession, that it ensures that you are continually improving as a skills development practitioner, and that you are serious about your career growth, that you want to keep in good standing with national best practices and trends and continue that upward trajectory. So this is just what is involved in the continued professional development. It is competence, it's showing expertise, it's showing that you are continually engaging in the current practice of what you are doing. It shows your skill and that you are in that occupation and that you have a career path and that you're constantly training and improving and developing yourself, that you remain motivated and working towards specific goals. The benefits of CPD, again, keeping your competencies current, showing the evidence that the practitioner, the skills development practitioner, has a commitment to their own development, shows evidence to our organization that there is that commitment to professionalism, and the practitioner is able to monitor, very importantly, monitor your progress and development based on the plan that you set out for yourself and the goals that you set for yourself to achieve over the plan that you had intended for yourself. So in short, what we are here to do is raise the bar in quality skills development. It's definitely in our hands. Many hands are better than one, and we like to work as an industry whole to ensure that we can raise the bar in skills development. The secret in education lies in respecting the students. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate giving me this time to deliver some information about our sector and about our professional body. And I'd like to open the floor now to give opportunity for any questions or clarity or anything that you'd like to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Definitely the questions will be posted on our online platform, and should there be any specificity in that regard, we'll make sure that it's forwarded to you. But we do want to thank you so much for your contribution, and we appreciate the Association of Skills Development in South Africa for being one of our sponsors for this event and making sure
Thank
that
you.
we discuss skills and we implement them. So thank you.
Yes.
For telling us about the compliance that we need to adhere to as colleges, as practitioners, and so forth. And we will be in touch. Thank you,
Thank
Sharon.
you very much.
Sure then.